I'm Edie Lush, and I'm here at the Hub Pavilion in Davos. Very pleased now to be joined by Simon Sproule. He's the head of marketing for Nissan. Thanks very much for coming along.
Pleasure.
It's Climate Deal Day here at the Hub Pavilion in Davos, and you spoke earlier today about how the electric vehicle was coming of age in 2011. Why is that?
Well, I think it's coming of age because of the product, and we're bringing to market for the first time available a product that basically anybody can get into, and it's a product that is many people describe as surprisingly normal. So it's a full 5-seater family car, hatchback. You can get in it and you can do most of what you need to do, everyday driving within the range of the vehicle. So we're bringing out a product that no longer is a kind of concept car or some sort of esoteric experiment or a prototype. It is a mass-produced vehicle that is full electric, and that's never been on the market, that's never been offered before, and Nissan's in a great position to be able to offer that to consumers around the world. Now we've started deliveries in Japan and the US. Europe's going to follow this year, and other markets after that. So it's I think what people haven't realized is that the electric vehicles are now here.
Which is really interesting because you guys have made a real play for the electric vehicle market. You are also doing hybrids, you're also doing some other kind of cars, but why have you chosen this particular area to focus on?
Well, you're right. I mean, we at the moment the consumer has not chosen what's going to be the mass, new technology of the future. We have diesels, we have hybrids, we have plug-ins, we have all kinds of stuff going on. For electric, what we think is ultimately the end game is going to be zero emission. So ultimately, for the auto industry to be able to meet the demands of a massively rising global population that wants increasing personal mobility. I mean, you just have to look at China, India, Brazil, Russia, Indonesia. One of the first things people want is they want their own car. Now, if you start multiplying, the number of cars per head of population that we have in the US, which is about 800, and you start multiplying that by the population of China, you very quickly run into hundreds of millions of vehicles, and then you start adding that into the emissions that produces and the gasoline that's going to consume, and you suddenly arrive and say, well, can the world actually support several hundred million internal combustion engine vehicles? So ultimately we think that zero emission is the end game. Electric vehicles clearly are going to play a major part in that. Whether the zero emission ultimately is fuel cells or whether it continues to be batteries, that's for technology to decide. But the bottom line is that we wanted to make a start now. We think that the electric vehicle technology is ready for prime time, and that's why we're on sale and we're going to market.
And it's also fascinating to me that Nissan has partnered with Renault, because you're both companies that are at the sort of the top of the pyramid in your own geographies. And I'd like you to tell me a little bit about what that means when you're going down this electric vehicle route, because a lot of what we know is that it's very important to get the battery right, and it's very important to get the infrastructure, i.e. where you plug it in.
That's right.
Right. So how has that joint venture worked in terms of making this right for the EV?
Well, look, the Renault-Nissan Alliance as an entity has been around for 11 or 12 years, so we've got a long history of working together on projects, and in many areas we have very deep collaboration. For electric vehicles, it made sense for us to work together on specific areas of technology, and Renault are ready shortly to launch their first full electric vehicle, the Fluence. We're already on market with Nissan with the Leaf. We've got another 6 or so products coming across both brands, and what it's enabled is scale. Scale on batteries, scale on inverters, scale on the technology, and that's again key, because the more you produce, you can lower the cost and so on and so forth. So it's a very good virtuous circle. So by partnering together, we can share the development costs, we can share the infrastructure development. I mean, when we go into a new market, let's take a European market for example, UK or Portugal, whatever, having a good discussion with the governments of those countries about infrastructure is good for Nissan, it's good for Renault. So it's a win-win with us partnering on this program.
So if the old saying was a chicken in every pot, are you aiming for an EV in every garage?
Look, we think that consumers are going to have to get to know the product, and they're going to have to get to know how it's going to fit into their lifestyle, because of course for just decades the internal combustion engine has dominated, so people have got used to a range, they've got used to filling up at a gas station, and they've got used to living with the range of a gasoline engine car. Now clearly electric vehicles have different range capabilities, but what we think is that based on our analysis, I mean, something like 80% of drivers are driving under 50 or so miles a day. So we think that for a large percentage of the population, an electric vehicle is going to meet all their needs. Now, what people need to do is they need to get in it, they need to see how real it is, how normal it is, and then they've got to figure out, well, can this fit with my lifestyle? And already we're seeing, we've got the early adopters who've already done the kind of mental calculations. They're there, they're using the electric vehicle, they've figured out how it's going to fit in their lives. No problem. The next step is the next level of consumers that are interested, but they're not sure how it's going to fit with their lives. And really, the only way we can do that is to put the vehicle on the market and say, hey, look,
here
it is, and try it out.
Simon, I'm ready to try. Can you take me for a test drive?
You bet. Let's go. They're just parked outside.
Excellent. All right. Thanks very much, Simon, for coming into the Hub Pavilion here in Davos. And I'm Edie Lush.